So you're getting ready for the Criteria Cognitive Aptitude Test, the CCAT. You probably know the pressure is on. Well, today we're going to break down exactly what you need to know and the strategies to get the score you really want. Okay, let's just dive right in.
Right off the bat, this is the heart of the challenge, isn't it? 50 questions, but only 15 minutes to do them. It's designed to be a total sprint, and it's not just testing what you know, but how fast you can think and act under some serious pressure.
And if you do the math on that, well, it's pretty wild. It means you've got an average of just 18 seconds per question. 18 seconds to read it, understand it, and pick an answer. There is literally no time for second guessing.
And that's the good news here. This test isn't really about getting a perfect score or being a genius. It's all about playing the game with the right strategy. And in this explainer, we're going to give you the exact game plan you need to do just that. So let's start by decoding what this test is really all about. Understanding the why behind the CCAT is always the first step to truly mastering it.
At its core, the CCAT isn't a knowledge test, it's a performance test. Employers use it to see how you handle new information and solve problems on the fly. And those are skills that are absolutely crucial in pretty much any job you can think of. Okay, now these 3 rules, they dictate your entire approach. First, no calculator means you've got to be sharp with your mental math. Second, no back button means once you answer, that's it. You have to be decisive. And maybe most important of all, no penalty for wrong answers. This means you should never, ever leave a question blank. A guess is always, always better than nothing.
So what even is a good score? Well, the average is around a 24. But if you're aiming for 35 or higher, you're putting yourself in a really competitive spot that's going to make recruiters sit up and take notice. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's a smart, high-ranking score.
All right, let's talk game day strategy. Knowing the rules is one thing, but actually using them to outsmart that ticking clock is a whole other beast. This is where the real magic happens.
This is probably the most important mindset shift you can make. You honestly do not need to be a genius to ace the CCAT. You just need a solid plan and the discipline to stick to it, especially when that 15-minute timer's breathing down your neck.
So here it is, a simple 3-step plan. First, find and knock out the easy questions. This banks you some quick points and builds your confidence. Second, for the harder ones, do not get stuck. Eliminate what you can, make your best educated guess, and move on. And finally, say it with me, never leave a question blank.
Okay, let's get a little more specific. To really make that strategy work, you need to understand the 3 different kinds of questions you're going to be up against.
As you can see, the test leans pretty heavily on numerical and verbal questions. Together, they make up almost 80% of the exam. That abstract reasoning piece is smaller, but it's often where people lose the most time. So, having a plan for it can give you a serious edge.
The numerical section is 100% about speed. How fast can you calculate a percentage, or work with a ratio, or pull the right number from a chart? And remember, no calculator, so your mental math skills are absolutely key here.
So 2 quick tips for this section. First, don't get bogged down trying to be super precise. The answer choices are usually far enough apart that a good approximation will get you there way faster. And second, have an internal clock. If a problem's taking you more than, say, 20 seconds, it's time to guess and go.
Next up, verbal reasoning. And listen, this isn't about having a huge vocabulary. It's really about logic. You're going to see questions about opposites, antonyms, and word relationships, or analogies. The goal is to see how quickly you can spot that logical connection.
Here are a couple of quick tactics. For an analogy like car is to road, just make a simple sentence. A car travels on a road. Then apply that exact same sentence to your answer choices. For antonyms, start by crossing out any words that are similar or totally unrelated. It helps narrow down your options fast.
And finally, we have the abstract section. This is where you'll see all those grids of shapes, weird sequences, and odd-one-out puzzles. This part purely measures your ability to spot patterns, with no words or numbers to guide you.
The best way to tackle these is to just simplify. Don't try to see the whole complex pattern at once. Isolate one thing. Is a shape rotating? Is the shading changing? For those 3x3 grids, always check for patterns going across the rows first before you start looking at the columns.
Now that you have the strategy, the final piece of the puzzle is practice, because knowing the game plan isn't the same as being able to pull it off when you're under pressure.
You really need to build the muscle memory for this 15-minute sprint. That confidence you want on test day, it comes from knowing you've already faced that clock and beaten it multiple times in practice.
So, what's the best way to practice? You want to look for resources that feel just like the real thing. Full-length, timed tests are essential for training your brain. Good tools also give you detailed explanations, so you actually learn from your mistakes. And features like analytics can pinpoint exactly where you're losing time, helping you turn those weaknesses into strengths.
I mean, the whole goal of practice is realism, right? When the practice questions are high quality and feel just like the real deal, the problems on the actual tests start to feel familiar. And that familiarity is a massive advantage when the clock is ticking.
So are you ready? Ready to stop just knowing the strategy and start mastering the execution? Because solid practice is how you walk into that test feeling totally confident that you are prepared for whatever it throws at you.
You've got the guide, you've got the strategy. The next step is just to put it into action. Find a great practice resource, commit to the plan, and go get the score you know you're capable of.